Hey everyone, we're going to get started in a second here. I'm going to do a quick meditation. Quick meditation. Come on. Wish I grabbed my my lip gloss. But yeah, we're talking about intention tonight. It's the first regular live I've had in a while. So I'm not gonna lie, I'm trying to formulate my thoughts and get everything structured, but I'm like, I don't even know where to start really. And I think relate my thoughts and get everything structured, but I'm like, I don't even know where to start really. And I think the most important thing I should start with is maybe defining what intention is. Oh my gosh, this looks really cool. I'm going to show you this really quick. This is Norbert. The lighting is making him look pretty wild. I made him for my old desk job. I had to have something creative on there, you know? Don't start. I have my mom's birds in the background and they are so loud and I have nowhere to put them. I want to put them outside, but they'll die. So, you know, if I'm going to put them outside, I have to be ready for them to, might as well just let them out the window or something. So anyways, shh. It's kind of what happens when you tell your mom that you're going to take her birds before she dies. Or before she transitions. Anyway, so I think the most important thing, hey Nana Marie, if you want to hang around, we're talking about intention. And I think I probably should wait until more people join before I get started here. I am screen recording, so I'm probably going to post a little bit of this maybe later tonight. Just like the important parts. Specifically the parts where the birds are not squawking in the background. Shh. I need something to throw at them. So, we're going to go ahead and just get started. We're going to talk because I think this is kind of how it's going to happen. It's going to be like 2 viewers, 1 viewer, 4 viewers, and that's fine. I don't mind. Again, I'm going to be posting some of this later. Thank you. So, I'll start by defining what intention is. And I honestly think intention is one of the things that we seem to skip. And we kind of jump over that and go directly to manifestation, right? We're always talking about manifesting. Patrick is cool beans. I don't know. Anyways, we're always talking about manifesting and getting what you want on TikTok, right? But we forget to talk about the main thing. And that is, first of all, knowing what you want. Not just knowing what you want, but why you want it. What are you willing to sacrifice to get this particular thing that you want? Let's see. And I have some notes over here so that I don't go on a long tangent, because I will do that. What are the distractions that are, you know, distracting you from getting the things that you want? And I think that's really, really important to consider. So let's say, for instance, and this is just an example. This is a really common example. Let's say you want to date this guy. This guy has a lot of connections. He knows your friends. You know his friends. He's attractive. He's just like this perfect person, right? And you really want him. You really want to date him. So your intention is to do that, right? So let's say it eventually happens. You guys are now in a relationship. And then you realize that you've put your dreams on hold to focus on what he's doing on his life. Because again, this guy has a lot going for him right now. You know, I won't get into detail. That's unnecessary. But you've put your dreams on hold because of this person. And I think this is one of the things you have to do before you start the process of manifesting. And that is knowing why you want the thing that you want. So let's say the reason why you wanted this person because you knew that dating him was going to help, I don't know, some sort of future endeavor that you had. You guys look good together. He's attractive. All these different things, all these different external things, right? But none of it had to do with your happiness. None of it. It was just things that you thought would make you feel better. Your ego. Your ego was telling you that you deserved to have this person, disregarding all the things that came with them. You didn't consider your intention. Another great example is, and this is an example that like hits really close to home for me, is a job. I remember, most of my life I was searching for jobs that paid a lot of money or allowed me to move up in the ranks so that I can eventually make a lot of money. Ultimately, right? I wanted to be the CEO of a company. Whether it be my own company or one that already existed, it didn't matter to me. I wanted to have the title. And the title to me was what mattered the most, was the title. So I was like, all right, this is what I want. I'm going to get it. Why? Because I know I can have it. And that's it. Didn't consider anything else. Didn't consider what it would take for me to get there. Didn't consider the turmoil and the emotional stress I would go through getting these positions. I just wanted it. Now, had I taken a second to think about the possibility that the reason why I wanted this stuff, one, is because I didn't want to be financially unstable. I wanted to feel important. I wanted to make sure that I would never be in a position financially. Hi, how you doing, Brenda? Financially that I was when I was, 14, 15 years old, when my mom was struggling and I was the oldest. And I made sure I worked a full-time job still in high school to make sure that she had money. Hey, how you doing? I didn't consider any of that. I didn't consider any of that at all before I made a decision that this is what I wanted to do. So you know what happened when I got the job? Multiple times. You know what happened? Well, I was making money, all right, but I wasn't happy. I kept looking for the next thing, constantly looking for the next thing, thinking that that next thing was going to fulfill that hole that I was feeling, or fill in that gap that was there in my life, right? So ultimately, if I had taken a second, let's say if I had meditated, hey, how you doing? I'm good. We're talking about intention tonight. Yep. So let's say if I had taken a second and maybe considered the fact that there was some inner work that I needed to do first. And that no matter what decision I made or what job I got, and I can't remember the word I was looking for, but no matter what, I wasn't going to be happy. But this is why I love this lesson, because I'm not talking about this because I want you guys to skip the lesson. You have to mess up to get the lesson, right? You have to mess up so that you can, right? Exactly. I love intentions too. You have to mess up so that, you could learn something. And I am so grateful for that moment in my life. It was a huge turning point. Because I got exactly what I wanted. I got this big title. I got this big paycheck. And I couldn't stop thinking about what my next step was because this wasn't it. So it took me taking a bunch of steps backwards. Not even really backwards, really. But I left that situation and that environment and I went right back to the source. And to me, or for me, for me, the source was living in a homeless shelter with my family when I was 14, 15 years old, where all of that financial instability for me started. That's where it started for me. And I'm going off a little bit here, but I promise you, it's going to circle back to intentions. But this is what I like to call soul cycle. And it probably has a term, and you might want to call it someone else. But what I call a soul cycle is when you are in a situation that was meant to teach you a lesson. In that moment, it does not happen for whatever reason. Maybe you weren't open to it. Maybe it wasn't the right time. Maybe you weren't in the right environment. I don't know, but there was a lesson to be learned, and you didn't learn it, and you went on with your life. And whether it be a month later, 5 years later, 10 years later, you find yourself right back to that one spot. And if you're open enough in that moment in your life, you'll notice it. And you're like, wait a second, I did this when I was, however age, and I handled it this way. Let's do something different. So when I was in that shelter with my family, my brother, my sister, in one room together, and before you feel bad or anything for me, it could have been way worse. We had a place to live, so it was really great. But when I was in that room, I told myself, I was like up 3 o'clock in the morning, like clockwork every night. I was like, you know what? I love my family. I want to make sure that this never happens again to not just me, but my family. I want to make sure that we are never financially unstable. I want to make sure that we have, everything that we need from this point forward. And I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that happens. That was the moment that I became so headstrong, so motivated to get that title, to become the CEO, to make a lot of money. And it didn't stop until I was 31, until I was 31 years old. Wow. 31. My mindset was on that, was tuned to that station all the way until 31 years old. From 14, 15 years old. And it took finally, thank you. And it took finally actually getting to the very top that I fought for so many years before I realized that I never thought of my intention. I never thought of the reasons why I wanted these things. I just felt like in life, and this isn't just my fault, I know. This is what society teaches us, that we are born, we go to school, we move out of our parents' house, we get a good job, we have some babies, we get married. Man, that's what we're taught to do. And it creates this sort of, it like fuels our ego in a way. And when I tell you my ego was headstrong, I'm talking about like I had the biggest ego. And there's nothing wrong with that, just so you know. I'm not saying anything bad about it. It's just I literally have blinders on. So anyways, when I left this job that I was making a lot of money, I went back to the homeless shelter and I worked there for about 4 months. And the second I got there, I was still in, what can I do? How can I move up within this company? How can I help the most people? I was still in that mindset where I felt like I needed to do more than I already was doing. And it took weeks before I started slowly realizing that I'm exactly where I was supposed to be. And I'm already helping people. And for someone like me who is extremely, extremely compassionate when it comes to career and when it comes to business, and, back to that title for me, it's so hard for me to take a step back and say, you know what? I don't have to strive for more. I'm perfect exactly where I am right now. I'm fine exactly where I am. You know how hard that was? That was so hard to do. But I did it. I literally did it. I sat there and I realized that everyone moving around me, all these people experiencing homelessness, all these men, these family, these little kids that had nowhere to live, were exactly where I was when I was 14, 15 years old. And that me just being there and speaking to them and telling my story was all I needed to be doing at that time. That's it. And man, that was a hard lesson to learn. And that's where that soul cycle comes back around. in that moment, I realized that just me being happy was exactly what I needed to do. That's it. So again, what is intention? Maybe what is intention compared to manifestation? Intention is getting clear on what you want. Manifesting is getting it done, making it happen. Why would you jump to just manifestation? Why not start with intention? What do you want? Why do you want it? Are the reasons why you want it because someone told you you should want it? Because society said that this is your next step? Or let's talk about fear. Let's talk about fear. This is a big one. This is a big one. This goes right back to kind of what I was just saying. Are you afraid to not do this particular thing because of what might happen? Exactly. Yes. Thank you. You can't manifest without intentions. I mean, let's put it this way. You can, but you might not be ready for what you just manifested. You might not be ready for it. Perfect example for both of us. We both have businesses, right? Let's say our intention was, or not intention, let's say we start manifesting more money in our business, which means more customers. But we're not doing what we need to do in our business to support those customers. Me having a soap business and all these different products that I sell, I'm over here like, I need more customers. I need more sales. Knowing damn well I don't even have the supplies to support that. I think that's where people get screwed up. I want the relationship, but I'm not ready to move out of my parents' house. You know what I mean? Like, I want the car, but I don't want the car payment. Or I want the car, but I got 6 DUIs, you know, like it does not compute. So it's just like, and I find it funny now. I didn't find it funny before. I find it funny now because it's constantly clicking for me. Constantly. When I tell you the epiphanies, the downloads, the realizations that I have on a daily basis and how grateful I am for it, it's just like, I can't put it into words. It's overwhelming. So let me try to figure out what we were talking about a second ago. Intentions. Was it my job? I don't remember, but yeah. I just think ultimately, oh, that's what I was saying. Manifestation. So I'm playing like Hurts in the background. It's so soothing. I'm getting distracted. I love it. I love those like YouTube videos that pop up. Like my YouTube feed is so saturated that all I have to do is go on there and just boom, video. Sure, I'll listen to it. Just like my Spotify. I don't know. Maybe this is a time for you guys to kind of post something in the comment. What is something that you want right now? Like just a simple sentence. What do you want? And I also want to talk about like getting clear of what you want and how hard it is to do that. Being vague in what you want. Like, man, it's so hard sometimes. When someone asks me what my why is, I'm like, what do you mean what my why? What is my why? What do I want? I don't know. Why are you asking me what I want? I don't know what I want. It's a crazy question to answer, especially if you're an over analyzer like me. It's like, you want like the detailed version or do you want the vaguer version? Because, you know, I can give you both. But tell me in the comments, what do you guys want? What is your bird feathers? What do you want in your life right now? Just a short sentence. Thank you for the follow. It's getting hot in here. Oh, excuse me. Hey, Sen. I'm having you guys post in the comments, what do you want in your life right now? Short version. But I feel like some of you might write me a whole script over here. Money. Okay. How much money? Specifically, how much money do you want? Happiness. We all want to be happy. I get that. I feel that. All right, well, let's start with money. Someone else might comment here. So what are you willing to do to get that money? Simple question. How much money do you want? You know, there's so many questions that you have to ask yourself. This is yourself. This is your own homework assignment. People are like, I want to manifest money. I'm going to buy this oil. I'm going to buy this sage. I'm going to put it all over my body and take a bath with it every Saturday night because Saturn is my planet ruler. It's like, it can get super specific, right? But what are you missing there? A pen and paper. Write down exactly why you want money. You want money because you do not want to be financially unstable. You want money because you want a new car so that you can feel good. You don't have to worry about fixing it and you'll look cool. You'll impress that girl that you like and your friends. Does the reason why you want this particular thing, does it have something to do with an insecurity that you have within yourself? Is someone making you insecure? Because, man, it goes deep. It can go so much deeper. And these are the things you have to consider. Or else you will not be happy. I'm telling you right now, you're going to get it. And you're still going to be chasing that feeling without even knowing what it is. You're like, oh, well, now I have money. So now I need something else that I can't think of right now. Whatever. I don't know. So let's talk about happiness. I want to be happy, but I'm not willing to do the work to figure out why I'm unhappy currently. What about my childhood is making me unhappy? You know, what about this person is making me unhappy? What about this job is making me unhappy? We want to manifest so many different things in our life. But without the consideration for the reasons why we don't already have it. Excuse me. I don't know. It's so hard. It really is. I think about all of those things every day. And that's great. That's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. And I know it's not easy to say, this is what I want, and come up with all these different answers on how to get it. If it was that easy, you'd probably already have it, right? But I'll be honest with you, the first step is asking those hard questions. Even asking them out loud. Ask them out loud. You're going to get your answer. And no, it's not going to be, a wizard isn't going to appear in your bedroom and whisper in your ear and say, and give you the responses. It's not, I mean, if that happens, that's awesome, but I've never seen that before. Not in real life, That'd be dope if it happened to you. But my point is, you're going to get your messages. You're going to get your responses, your answers. And you're not going to see them unless you're open to hear it, if you know what I mean. Oh, I thought something was in my hair. So let's talk about overanalyzing. I mean, you don't understand how many times I've written what I wanted on paper. And there's like 8 versions. The first version is always super vague. I want money. I want, a car. I want to pay off my house. Very vague things, right? And then the next version is a little bit more detailed. The next one's a little bit more detailed. And this is after the more I learn about attention. The more I learn about myself. More importantly, the more I learn about myself. Learn about attention. The more I learn about myself. More importantly, the more I learn about myself. It is hard to make those decisions. Absolutely. Absolutely. I think humans are afraid to live for themselves. And it's because of the societal pressures. Family, friends, gotta have them, or else you don't exist. Children. Let's say, for example, you can make those decisions. Like, you've considered it, right? I'm sure you have. But then what happens? What happens is you start considering other people's feelings. They start getting involved. Well, my mom will think, or my husband will think, my boyfriend will think this, and I don't want to make them uncomfortable. I don't want to do this. But if you do it, you're selfish, right? I don't believe in that. I think you got to think of yourself first. You got to think of your happiness and your mental health first and foremost. And then you can help someone else. And if you don't, you're doing a disservice to yourself. Yeah. It's not selfish at all. And I have to explain that a lot. People don't understand that. Why you don't want to do something for them. It's because you don't feel like doing it. You don't feel comfortable doing it. If we all trusted our intuition, we'd be better off. But we're not going to do that. Most people aren't going to do that. And I understand why not. Fear. What are they going to think of me? I don't know. I think the only way you could solve that is by taking little steps, little changes in your life, and notice how you react to them. Because ultimately, this is all you. No sort of outside forces are going to change your life. I think the most beautiful thing we were given when we were born is choice. 100% choice. The opportunity to choose what we want to do. And it's such a beautiful thing if we just all realize that. Choice. You know how people don't have choices? Literally born in captivity or some other weird situation where they can't choose what to do with their life. And you have choice, but you're choosing to keep yourself in a box and not have the things that you want in your life. And you want to know how you gain courage? You gain courage after you do the thing that you're afraid to do, not before. Courage is gained after the leap. After. And I know it sounds weird. It's like, well, no, that's not how it really works. You have to gain the courage to do something. It's like, no, you literally have already done it. If you do it, you gain the courage to do it again. How do you get confidence? By doing the thing you're afraid to do. This is all... Let's go back to intention, because I love this. And this is why I've decided to kind of like make that the basis for my company, because I feel like it's the first step. It is the first step. It all breaks down to asking yourself, who are you? Who are you currently? And then you can ask yourself, who do you want to be? Where are we at on time? Let's see. Oh, it's only been 30 minutes. All right. To my one viewer that's left, I appreciate you. I just want to let you know that. And that you are never alone on this journey. And I think the more people that realize that, the more you're willing to take those steps that we were just talking about, those really tough steps. Because I guarantee you there is a million other people dealing with the same thing you're dealing with. And I think what's also important is telling your story. I still feel weird telling my story. I feel like no one really cares sometimes. But I do it anyway. Because someone out there relates to me. Especially the whole job thing. I mean, I am not the only oldest child in a family that had way too much responsibility when I was a kid. Way too much responsibility. To the point now, it's hard for me to accept help from other people. Because I think there's some sort of ulterior motive. I have no trust. Let's talk about trust. Trust is a big one. Trust is just like fear, just as big as fear, right? You're afraid to do these things because you don't trust that you will be okay. Right? The universe, God, your spirit guides, you know, whoever you believe in, you don't trust that they will always take care of you. Because no matter what, and this is a simple fact, this isn't, you know, some BS that I'm talking about here. No matter what you deal with in your life, you will always be okay. Always be okay. Because you always have been okay. And a lot of the times when we think that certain things are happening to us, that these negative things or bad things that are happening to us, they're not actually bad things. They're things that are happening because it needed to happen in order to break us out of that I don't know, what would I call it? Like, break us out of that mold that we would have never actually done if that hadn't happened, if you know what I mean. We'd have never seen the path if this thing hadn't gotten in our way. Because we were so afraid. We were comfortable. I'll tell you one thing, if I could go back in time, I wouldn't change a damn thing, because I've learned so many lessons. I don't think I'd be who I am today if I hadn't learned those lessons, if I hadn't made those choices. And I think if we could all come to, I wouldn't change a damn thing, because I've learned so many lessons. I don't think I'd be who I am today if I hadn't learned those lessons, if I hadn't made those choices. And I think if we could all come to that conclusion where literally life is just simply a journey. It's a journey through understanding who we are, truly who we are. And I was thinking something the other, excuse me. I was thinking something the other day. And I'm a millennial, right? And I don't know if you guys will remember this, but do you remember YOLO? You only live once. And if you remember YOLO, then you remember how popular it was and how people were doing crazy shit just because the idea that we only have one life. Well, that's not true. We don't only have one life. We've had many lives. We will have more lives. But right now we're here on Earth. And the Earth School is what they call it. I love that. I love the Earth School. Because it's the truth. We're in school for life. And there's no judgment. Just like there was no judgment when you were a kid in elementary and you made weird decisions, you know, cringy decisions. You look back on and you're like, why did I do that? Why would you judge yourself now then? Well, in the next 10 years, you're going to be learning even more. So let's go back to intention. Because I'll be honest with you, we haven't really left intention. This is all the same stuff that you have to consider. There is no asking for something and getting it, and there be no repercussions. Nothing that you have to consider after that. You have to be willing to do the work. If you're not ready to do the work, that's fine. But I'm telling you right now, when you get that thing, you're not going to be ready for it. Or you won't even know you have it. I kept telling myself that I wanted a job where I could get a chance to help people. I said, I want to help people. I want to help people. I need a job where I can help people and I can pay my bills. Why is that so hard to ask for? And I got it and didn't even realize I had it. Because it didn't look like how I thought it was going to look like. My ego was telling me that I needed a platform. I needed to dress professionally. I needed to have a certain amount of money in the bank. And I needed a certain amount of subordinates underneath me. Sounds pretty specific. It sounds like I'm dealing with a childhood trauma that is inching its way up to and through my intentions. I don't know. Excuse me. I don't normally smoke cigarettes, but I had a cigarette earlier, and I'm starting to feel it. I had what I like to call a bored cigarette. I was like, I'm bored. I'm going to go buy a pack of cigarettes. And then stick the rest in my freezer. I don't know. I just love this subject. It's a lot more vast than you think it is. It's not just more, it's so much more than just one word. Intention. It's such a powerful thing. It's like the Mariana Trench, you know? It's just super, 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 super vast. And it connects with everything, including your manifesting. I think another thing you can do when you're trying to figure out your intentions is consider how you feel when you're writing these things down, when you're logging them in your mind. This is what I want. This is what I want. How do you feel? Are you anxious? Are you rushing into it? Are you angry? Are you stressed? Excuse me. These are really negative emotions. Excuse me. Jeez, sorry. Yeah, these are like really negative emotions. I don't like saying negative emotions. I mean, they're emotions that you don't necessarily want to have when you're trying to manifest something. There's something I heard a long time ago about certain people that they sort of consider what their friend might be doing before they make a decision, and I'll explain. So let's say your friend has made a decision to become a Reiki healer or something. They're doing this Reiki thing. You're like, wow, that's really cool. And then slowly you start getting motivated to do it yourself. And then your ego's like, you know what? I can do it a lot better, and I'm going to do it a different version. I'm going to do it a different way, than my friend's doing it. And now I need to hurry up and get it done. So you're asking Spirit, you're like, all right, Spirit, I want to do this. Can you help me? When literally 24 hours ago, you weren't even thinking about that. The only reason why you want to do it is because you got in a conversation with your friend, and there's nothing wrong with being inspired. But the question is, once again, why are you making this decision? Is it because you liked the way your friend looked while she was, creating this future for herself, and now you want it for yourself? Because you wouldn't have seen it for yourself had you not seen it in her. I mean, that doesn't sound very positive. But I think that's probably the difference between being inspired. If you're anxious about something and you're doing the rat race because now you're like running to do this thing before someone else does it, I don't think that's genuine at all. I don't think that is, I don't want to say the right way. I just don't think it's genuine. Because I feel like once you do it, you're going to be done with it. And in a way, that was you trying to make sure that you felt just as worthy as your friend. And it's not your friend's responsibility to make you feel worthy about doing something. What was stopping you before? Worthy about doing something? What was stopping you before? Let's see. I think I want to talk more about not being able to handle the thing that you want. Hey, how you doing? Desiree. I remembered. Thank you. We're talking about intentions. I'm probably gonna shut it down pretty soon. But I was making the difference from intentions and manifesting. And how intention is basically making clear on what you want. Manifesting is, I keep saying manifesting. Manifesting is bringing it into fruition. Making it happen. Creating it. Right? And I think I started talking about emotions. Yes. So let's say you finally are past the point where you realize the reason why you want something is because you genuinely just want it. You've done the shadow work. You've considered all these different things. You're no longer vague with with asking for what you want, right? And you sit down and shoot, my mind just went blank. Dang it, what was I gonna say? I hate when that happens. Ugh, so annoying. But anyways, for my 2 viewers, if you could, in the comments, please write exactly what you want. I want to chat about it. Simply because I need to figure out what the heck I was just going to talk about. Hazel optimistic. What is Hazel optimistic? I think they're already gone. Oh, man. Tonight, I am going to be creating some products based around the UFO. Oh, no. Simply just, if I were to ask you what you wanted in general, what would you write? What's a quick thing that you're working on in your life, that you're working on manifesting? We're talking about intention. And how intention is something to consider before you start the practice of manifesting. If I was a genie and I can give you anything you want right now, what would you... A book, okay. Is there a specific book that you're looking for? I'm actually kind of curious to see what book this is. Thank you for the follow, by the way. Oops. I might do some yes or no questions for about 30 minutes. We'll see. I don't know. Oh, that would be really cool. That's really interesting. Now, I have a lot of questions about that, but I'm just going to ask one specific question. And that is, have you considered your intention on writing the book? And what I mean by intention, because I'm not sure, I think you just joined. I mean, why you want to do it. Consider the emotions that you have when you think about doing it. Are you anxious? Are you happy? Are you excited? Are you stressed out? And let's say you were to get this opportunity right now. Are you ready for it? Are you ready to write a book at this very moment? I think it'd be dope as hell to write a book, I'll be honest with you. I know a lot of people are kind of afraid to do that nowadays because people are so obsessed with new technology, and obviously you could still write a book, but I feel like the focus is on very what's the word I'm looking for? Very futuristic ways of reading content, if you know what I mean. People that, words that are people creating. I always wanted to write one for a while now. That's awesome. That's really good to hear. So I do want to like give you just a little bit to take home tonight, right? To do tonight. Just a little bit of a homework assignment. That's awesome. So your intention is to help people with the words that you're writing. That's beautiful. So homework assignment. And I'm assuming that you haven't already done this. If you have, that's amazing. Honestly. And it seems like from what you've posted so far that you know exactly where I'm going with this. The homework assignment is to ask yourself. Yep. The homework assignment is to ask yourself why you want to do it. And you've already said you want to help a lot of people. But why do you want to help people? And you can say, well, it's just because my human nature. Well, guess what? Human nature isn't to help people. Well, you could argue that maybe in a past life you did something bad, so in this life you just really want to help people. Very plausible, but I want to know more. I want to know about why you want to do it. Specifically, why do you want to help people? And I'm trying to think, because you could probably say you were literally already you're on the last page of writing this book. I don't want to assume that you aren't, but let's say this. And I'm going to look at my notes really quick here. Okay, so I would say in your case, what are your distractions? Are there any distractions right now that's keeping you from doing this one thing? I think distractions is such a big thing because, oh my God, perfect one right now is TikTok. Huge distraction. I mean, I'll go on there to for my own business and I'll start looking for content ideas. And next thing you know, I'm looking at UFO videos, distracted, and now I have to go to bed. So for you, are there any things that are distracting you from writing this book and finishing it so that you can continue helping people? So that you can bring that manifestation into life? Because I think that's the part we forget too, is okay, we got our intention. Now we're starting the act of manifesting, but we literally are immobile. We haven't done anything. We're distracted. And again, I'm not saying you are. I'm just fear of hurting the people I love with the content. Okay. And we talked about fear a little bit earlier in the live and how that's such a big deal for a lot of people. For I would say almost all people, literally everyone, we've dealt with that at some point in our life. And it goes right along with trust. Trust that no matter what, you are always going to be okay. Absolutely. And I talked about this too. Telling your story, never being afraid to tell your story. Because I'm telling you, there's probably millions of people out there that can relate to you, but you'd never know it. Oh my gosh. I am so big on that. And I think I have to do a whole live on it, honestly. And I think sometimes when people talk about telling their stories, they picture themselves on stage with a mic in their hand at a conference. Let me tell you my life, doing their TED Talk or something. But it's so much simpler than that. You sitting in line waiting for, you to receive something in your daily life. You're literally just going about your day, your regular day, sitting next to a complete stranger who's talkative. And maybe you have that conversation with this complete stranger. And you open up to this complete stranger and you tell your story. Little things like that, little interactions could change someone's life. And we could realize that every movement that we make has a reaction. And you never know how many people you're touching with just simply being open and being vulnerable. And it's so hard to be vulnerable. I'm telling you right now, like when you, especially if you have childhood trauma, I'm not going to say that I understand, because I have my own thing. It's not the same for anyone. It's always different, but it's hard. It takes practice. And it takes getting past fear and trusting that no matter what, you will always be okay. And that if you feel called to write this book, then write it. Because it's your story. It's no one else's story. Just like you said, I want to write a book and tell my story. But then you said, it might hurt others. It's not an other book, it's your book. It's not an other story, it's your story. Absolutely. We all have different avenues of healing. Some of us go talk to Reiki teachers and lay on a bed and get Reiki healing done. Some of us do, what's the new one? Quantum healing. Quantum healing. It's QHHT. I forgot what the words are for, what the acronym's for. Some of us like to rock climb or go hiking. If this is your healing, if this is your way to heal, then write the fucking book. You got this. Literally. But I get it. Because when you've been through a lot, you have to consider what other people are thinking. But consider is the key word in that. Consider. Why not have the conversation? Look, I love you, but I want to tell my story. And in my story, you are not always the good guy. And I want you to prepare yourself for that. And I would hope, in my hopes with you considering our relationship that we have now, that you'll be okay with that. You're welcome. Absolutely. And I really hope that you decide to do it. But if you don't, then I completely understand. And it's your choice. But I think that one day you're going to change your mind. And, all right, I fully expect you to get on TikTok and create a video off your video about your book. I mean, actually, I was supposed to mention that. I forgot. So back to being distracted, right? I've seen some pretty dope, like, book talk sort of advertising. It'll be like this girl or a guy or whatever that's telling a story, this crazy story. And at the end of the video, they're like, yeah, my book comes out February 2000. I'm like, what? That's a book? Sign me up. Because that was a crazy story. You know what I mean? And I feel like we have so many different avenues of advertising right now. And if you're not a big fan of being in the spotlight, you literally don't have to anymore. Book signings are great. But so are live videos where you get a chance to talk to your fans. And I'm kind of going off on tangents right now. But yeah, my point is, no matter what, you will always be okay. Write the book. Because why not? All right, I think I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to, and this is thank you for coming on, by the way, because I think that was a beautiful way to end my life. So many different ways. I know, there's so many. This is your sign. And if you're unsure, don't forget to talk to your guides, your God, whoever you believe in. Speak it out loud and wait for the message. And I'm not saying wait for the message in 5 minutes. I'm saying the next day when you're driving to work or you're going to school or something, you're going to get your answer. You just got to be open to receive it. And don't ask, should I write my book? Don't ask, should you do something? Be open to receive it. And don't ask, should I write my book? Don't ask, should you do something? Because if you want to do it, your guides are going to say, then do it. That's a dull question, you know? They're always going to tell you to do it. But if you want to ask instead, what's the best way to bring up me writing this book to the people that I'm going to have to talk about to my family members, my friends. And maybe something will happen where you run into someone who also wrote a book, and they start talking. And they start talking about specifically how, right? Right now, literally me talking to you is a message. Something had you join this live to give you the confirmation that you needed. But just in case you want more, you can always ask your guides all the time. They're always there, literally. They've been throwing signs at you, and you're like, you know? But I forgot what I was saying. But yeah, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be a great book, and it's going to help a lot of people. All right. I love you all. Thank you for my 3 viewers right now. Thank you so much for Marjorie. From Marjorie with love. Thank you so much for joining. And I want to see that video. I'm serious. But if you change your mind, I understand. But don't change your mind. You should probably do it. All right. All right, you guys have a good night. And I think I'm going to do another live about something else. Maybe next week or something. I don't know. We'll see. I'll post about it. All right. Love you. Have a good night.